So, when I first, started going to school, attending elementary school and whatnot, right? On occasions, kids would make comments about my hair, particularly in a negative way, right? And like, by the way, I attended, majority black schools, all right? So these comments were coming from black people, black kids, right? There were negative comments, kind of like if they referenced my hair, it would be like in a negative way, right? Um, so that sort of made me feel a certain way about, my particular hair texture, right? And also, like when I would get haircuts, right, I would get like compliments. You're like, wow, even to even today that happened. That still happened. Like, wow, you know, it's like, wow, you look great. So that plus um, the negativity and negative feedback about the hair texture sort of played into the way that I felt about my hair. And also, a quick sidebar, I kind of feel like this is important to talk about. Also, one, because we don't usually get a male's perspective on this, we usually get like a female's perspective on this. But I do think this affect both male and females one way or the other, a bit differently, of course. I'm not going to say that the way that it affected me is the way that it affected a black woman, because I know that like for women, beauty is like a big thing, and hair factors into beauty a lot. So I'm not gonna, sit up here and say like, oh yeah, I know, like I know the struggle. I really, I have an idea of the struggle, but I won't say I know, the struggle that black women go through in regards to hair texture. you know, in and outside of the community. Even in the community, people say some really messed up things, right? Like, oh, some dudes saying like, oh, I want, like, she got to have good hair. She can't have that nappy ish, things like that. But back to this story. So, you know, because of those experiences, I kind of had like a negative opinion of my hair texture. And I guess I probably should actually show my hair texture since I'm doing a video about hair texture. Um, yeah, let's see. And take off this wave cap, hopefully. All right. So, yeah, I had like a negative opinion, a negative view of my hair texture, right? Because other people kind of said it was negative, either in a roundabout way or a direct way. Um, so it kind of made me feel a certain way, um, throughout, my adolescent years about my hair texture. I was like, I definitely got to hurry up and get a haircut. And even to an extent now, I'm a little still like that, but not as much though. Um, but for me, what changed, well, before I get into that, I will say that, my hair may have not been the most well kept. I mean, it wasn't like I had like, bugs or lint in my hair or anything, but perhaps it could have been styled better, maybe, or managed a little better. Because like my mom, she didn't really know what to really do with how to really deal with like my particular hair texture or my hair. I mean, she's a black mom, but she didn't really know how to do that. Plus, I was like male, so it was like, well, just get a haircut. This is pretty easy. Just get a haircut, right? But even with my sister just wound up just being ushered into perms, ushered into getting perms too. And until this day, like my mom got a perm, my sister got a perm still, right? You know, but with my mom, I think what played a role in it was like her mom, right? Because she had mentioned one time that her mom, she had like, a quote unquote, um, a nice texture to her hair, right? And like her mom came from that, Louisiana Creole background, right? So you got like, the quote unquote well textured hair. And that may have played a role in the way that my mom feels about her hair texture too, right? So you see, this can kind of be passed down from generation to generation, one way or the other, right? And plus, like my dad has a certain hair texture too. That's um, like it's not like we have like a different type of hair texture, like as well as his brothers have a similar hair texture to each other, like kind of like a thin and wavy hair texture. And I think that factored into it too, as well as the media, because I remember, seeing like a L'Oreal commercial for kids and thinking, well, I would like to have that hair texture. And even thinking like, oh, if I just bought this shampoo, my hair would turn into that hair texture, that bone straight hair texture. Of course it didn't. I was a kid, so I didn't really know that, it's going to take more than just some shampoo to like straighten your hair out. But yeah, and also one more thing before I move on. I had actually saw a video about this light skinned dude who said he used to kind of like, perm or texturize his hair because he kind of felt like he was supposed to have, quote unquote, good hair. And his hair was, very like coarse, like a more, coarse, kinky. Some people say nappy. For me personally, sometimes I kind of think nappy can be a bit of a pejorative um, in some contexts. But then some people think kinky is a pejorative too, because it's like you got to work out the kinks, right? Then some people think coarse is a pejorative, right? But like very strong Afro-textured hair, right? But yeah, he felt the need to texturize or lightly perm his hair so he could have like quote unquote good hair, you know. So that's how this can sort of affect us. And plus, men have preferences when it comes to hair on a woman that's affecting us too. We can't just be like, oh, this is strictly women's problem, because I think while women do bear the brunt of this, I think this men do factor into how black women feel about their hair, because I think if we had like natural hair, you know women, especially natural hair dark skinned women, all over like rappers music videos, then that probably would encourage a lot of black women to go natural. But that's not in the media. You don't see that being put on a pedestal. You're seeing like the curly girls, the biracial curly girl hair, or either just the bone straight hair, whether it's perm, weave, lace fronts, right? So yeah. So I don't think it's totally fair to just put it all like on black women, like, oh yeah, you guys got issues. Like, no, the community as a whole has issues when it comes to hair. We have it in different ways, right? Men have it when it comes to preferences, also themselves too, to a lesser extent, but preferences, right? While women have it more so in how they look and how they style themselves, etc. And it's as frivolous as hair seems, you know, maybe it's not as frivolous as we think. It should be, but I don't think it is. Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the next phase. And I'll say that though that's the way that I felt, but not the way that I feel now. Okay, that's how I felt in the past, particularly before I woke up and became conscious, right? And before you do that, you're often looking at yourself through the white gaze. So I think when you switch the gaze to the black gaze, then you can come to love yourself and love the features that you have that are black features. But I actually went on a bit of a hair journey. It kind of began sort of by accident in a way. Um, I wound up becoming unemployed and I didn't have much money to actually get a haircut, so then I just let my hair grow out. Um, then I think I may have had a job, but I wasn't getting paid like a lot of money. Also, yeah, get into it. And like haircuts don't be costing that much, but yeah, that's just my struggle phase I went through, right? So my hair grew out. So then I kind of was like, oh, I didn't know my hair kind of looked like this. It kind of grew out more than usual, you know. And also, I usually cut my hair before I go on job interviews, you know, because I feel like it kind of maybe makes me look more palatable, you know, more, well, really less ethnic. I will keep it real. Like it makes me look quote unquote less ethnic, right? I'm gonna be real with that. And I think that factors into. I can't be the only one who thinks like that. And plus, that's for survival too. Like as much as we want to be, pro-black and down for the cause, we do have to kind of sort of do things for survival. You know, I mean, I don't think you have to coon for survival, but you kind of, based on society, do have to sort of assimilate at least to an extent in order to survive. You know.